we can create a contour map of this sort of stuff. We can see, people in law tend to cite other legal precedent, and psychology tends to, cite a lot of psychology. I'm a sociologist. I'm that little pimple in the center there. And I think that suggests something about sociology. Either we're not really very useful, or we're incredibly useful for linking the entire group together. No one's really told me which it was, at least to my face. So, and now, on to some practical networks. Facebook, because you can never have too many irrelevant friends. So apparently you only have about 50 of them, or at least Gen Y does. I'm not sure Gen Yers in the room. Where was our presenter? Where's Robert? Oh, I've got some different data. So, but the thing is, it doesn't. Let's not get into pissing content or over data, but. But anyway, there's lots of reasons to link on this site, and this makes it a mess. This makes it a mess for trying to understand users, for trying to understand content. This is from a friend of mine, Dana Boyd. If you want to read the latest, greatest social science on Facebook, check out her blog. It's highly readable stuff. It's not overly complicated or technical. And so these are some of the things. It's the only way to see a private profile. The profile is cool. Basically, Facebook becomes access control. So then you would just want any little bit of access, and you get access to the whole thing. And so now everybody becomes a friend, and this becomes a mess. So what do? We're like, oh, now Facebook, your friends are these superficial people. You can't do anything with them. And then people give up on Facebook, and all this value that was accrued through these relationships dissipates because there's too many friends in too many ways. How many friends? Well, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like this is how many friends. It's just a whole mess. This is Holy Taco does Facebook in 2011, and we can see chats going up the corner and little pop-ups everywhere. And I'm concerned that and then we well, I can make money on that pixel right there. That one's free. That's not going to work. So before we get a little too far, how many friends do people have? Well, this data is hot, and by hot I mean I ran it this morning after Robert's talk. I didn't chew the data before, so it could actually be wrong. This is from a large university in the American Midwest. It's a study that I've done with some colleagues at Ohio University. Could be, who knows where it is. These are a first-year social statistics class that they somehow had access to. This was this year, and by this year I mean 3 weeks ago. 95% response rate data captured through a Facebook application. I have an application for downloading a social network, so you can see all your friends of friends ties. It works relatively fast. I'll give you a link later, but it gives you a pretty raw data dump at this point, so it won't be overly accessible. I will not be releasing my queries to the API open source, but if you are interested in how quickly you can capture that network, we can talk. So of these 393 people, the average network size was 500. 500 ties. And the tail went up. There were some people here upwards of 1,500 friends. Like ties, little network language, my bad. The mean is that sort of red line right there. Each bin is 100 friends. So we can see 3% of people have between 0 and 100 friends. About 8% have 1 and 200 friends, and then upwards of 15% have about the mean, the average number of friends, and a small number, 1%, over 1,000 friends over there. So these are some big networks, and they become a mess. I mean, you can't really do much with these networks, and you're going to spend all day if you're trying to, fine-tune the access to them. But again, scale matters. Here's some interesting things about the scale here. This is from Cameron Marlowe. His blog is overstated.net. He's a researcher at Facebook Internal, was at Media Lab. We can see here, this, the economists sometimes do clear graphs. And sometimes they do these, and this is what I get access to. Of people who have 500 friends, men have mutual communication with about 10 of them. Women have mutual communication with about 16 of them. That is, they have reciprocal, I talk to you, you talk to me. If you have 500 friends, 10 of them, people are interacting back and forth. 150 friends, 5 of them for men, 7 of them for women. So women are so much bigger communication that they talk to 2 more people. And so, I mean, it's, the differences, the gender differences are so small compared to the overall scale of interaction on this site and how extreme that scale is relative to the number of friends. We are not creating a lot of value here if we're talking to less than 5% of the people on this site. We're creating a lot of noise. So why do people even bother with the social network sites to begin with? Well, person-to-person networks need access controls. This is, you don't want to, this is why people put their photos on Facebook rather than Flickr. A lot of people put their photos on Flickr, they want to show it off to the world. A lot of people say, I don't want people seeing my baby pictures except, my friends and my family. And I want my family to, see, and then I know I have friends now who are having babies and they put hundreds of pictures up on this site and they want to have access control in some way. So social network sites, they fill this niche, but poorly. But nevertheless, there is gold in them thar hills. So this paper won the award at CHI this year. CHI is the premier conference for human-computer interaction internationally, and so the diagram I showed you earlier with the America and sort of the red and the blue sort of dots there, same people. That paper actually won the year before. These guys are on a roll. Eric Gilbert is he's not even done his PhD, and he's got a better sort of CV than most people I know. If I can parse this graph for you, this nice little one, this measure right here, tie strength, this is how close you are to somebody else. So what they did is they asked people how close, random Facebook friends, how close are you to this friend? Would you loan them, would they loan you $500? Could you crash at their place? Could they recommend a babysitter? And you get this measure of how close they are, quality over quantity. And then they get all these passive traces from Facebook, things like your last communication, the intensity of the interaction. How long have you guys been friends on Facebook? And overall, what an R-squared value means is the percent of variation that's explained. So they can explain over half of how close a friend you are to someone, not just whether you're a friend, but how close you are, just using stuff that's already available on the site. We're not doing this right now very effectively, but this is available. You can do this, and you can find this stuff out. Of course, the most important, and this is a very important thing, most recent communication, strongest predictor of how close you are to someone. So really simple findings, usable in a lot of situations. One funny thing about Eric's work, I was asking him about it. He said, well, it would have been higher if we could figure out who spouses were, but we had a lot of trouble with them. They were really close, you do anything for them, but they might not talk a lot on the site. And I said, well, spouses are the easiest thing in the world to find. They were the ones that I was able to find first. And they're like, well, how? So this is through actually looking at the networks themselves. So this network is near and dear to my heart. This is mine. These are my ties. I'm not showing you the thumbnails, although it's available. Can anyone guess? Sorry, and what's colored here are friend lists. So I've got friend lists like graduate students and family and et cetera, et cetera. Can anyone guess which one my spouse is? I'll give you a hint. It's the one that's connected to everyone else. So this one right here. I didn't bring my laser today. Right there. Really simple. We don't interact a lot on Facebook, but it's so patently obvious. So that's great. Now I know who my spouse is, and we got a friend list, and then we got another friend list over here, but it still looks like a mess. So fortunately, if we saw earlier, the liberals and the Republicans and the Democrats, we can cluster these things, and these algorithms are all freely available for people to use. And this one's called a greedy community algorithm. So it just gobbles up different parts of the network, and today you get something that looks like this. These are very clear different communities. We have some algorithms that are even better than that in some sense, but they're not as, they look a little overwhelming. So what were all those partitions?